July 14th, 2025. The sun crept over New Orleans, but the dawn was no gentle promise. It was a warning siren screaming in the sky. A prelude to apocalypse in minutes. The levee moaned like a wounded beast, then shattered under record rainfall, sending a wall of water roaring through streets, swallowing homes and hopes alike. I'm Michael Turner, a civil engineer who built his life on blueprints and calculations, a man who believed every risk had a formula, every disaster a solution. At exactly 6:17 a.m., the earth trembled beneath my feet, and my world became a churning nightmare. Water surged through my front door with the force of a storm god unleashed, dragging furniture, radios, and steel reinforcements into its hungry maw. I lunged for Laura's voice, my heart pounding with desperation, but the current swept me off my feet, flung me against a jagged beam, and pain exploded in my chest. And then nothing, darkness swallowed me whole, an eternal void where every fear dissolved into silence. And still I felt more alive than ever. I hovered above my shattered body, witnessing paramedics wrangle with death itself, their faces etched with terror, their hands drenched in urgency. Vera Jennings, the lead paramedic, shouted into her radio, her voice breaking like glass. Each word a lifeline slipping through her fingers. I tried to scream, tried to will my lungs to fill with breath, but no sound escaped. And that realization was more terrifying than the flood. Then the blackness rippled, a pulse of light breaking through like dawn's first kiss. A radiance that seeped into every corner of my soul. No angels, no trumpets, just a presence older than time. A warmth that banished fear and ignited a spark of peace in the hollow of my heart, the debris of my life. Broken glass, twisted metal, drowned dreams. Melted into gold-hued mist, a voice emerged, soft as breath yet powerful as thunder, calling my name with infinite compassion. It cradled my name, Michael, in syllables that carried the weight of eternity, and the tenderness of a mother's lullaby. In that moment, I saw fractures beneath the surface of our world, lies cloaked as truth, cruelty hidden behind smiles, indifference that starved the hungry and ignored the broken. I witnessed visions of a war igniting in silence, missiles launching under veils of darkness, cities erased in blinding white flashes, Lindives extinguished before alarms could pierce the storm. I glimpsed waves of deception rolling across nations, false prophets weaving miracles of light on screens, hearts seduced by the glitter of counterfeit hope. Yet amid that horror, a seed of hope took root, sparks of faith igniting in quiet rooms. In whispered prayers and tears shed in darkness, the voice spoke again, and each word was a promise of mercy hanging at the edge of judgment. A lifeline offered to the desperate and the lost. It urged me to return, to carry this warning beyond death's threshold, to sound the alarm before the final wave crashes upon the shore of humanity's fate. My chest tightened with urgency. My mind raced with the weight of what I must deliver. This is not a tale of empty comfort nor a forecast of mere disaster. It is a call to action, a plea to awaken before the tide of darkness drowns every light. If you value your tomorrow, if you still believe redemption is possible, listen closely. Subscribe now and prepare your heart, because the flood was only the beginning, and the next deluge will test the very foundations of faith itself. When my mind slipped free of pain and breath, the world dissolved into silent fragments of light and sound. I watched my body lie still beneath broken beams and swirling water. 2 paramedics fought to revive my heart. Each compression sent ripples through the flood-darkened room where hope and despair tangled. Their shouts echoed like distant thunder. I drifted beyond sound into a realm where time held no meaning. Without warning, the edges of reality blurred into a luminous haze of molten gold and pale mist. Shapes of memories and possibilities swirled in patterns older than stars. I felt weightless as if draped in liquid light, my fear and pain dissolving in waves of serenity and awe. The air around me sang with the pulse of creation, reminding me that life and death were threads in the same tapestry. Every boundary faded until only the essence of my soul remained vividly aware of infinite horizons. No ceiling, no floor, only a vast expanse breathing with silent music. It felt like standing on the threshold of eternity, every heartbeat echoing in the stillness. From that boundless stretch, I sensed countless other souls hovering between worlds, each drawn by an unseen melody of hope and longing. Their presence was a gentle reminder that no one truly walks alone in the face of apocalypse. Colors shifted in currents of emerald and violet. Weaving a cosmic tapestry of fate and free will, I glimpsed threads of human history unraveling and rewinding in moments like a kaleidoscope. Shapes formed and dissolved into symbols of warning and invitation. A silent call to awaken and choose life before the final curtain falls. Each symbol burned with urgency, painting a portrait of choices that echo across time. Then the fog of brilliant light parted, revealing a corridor lined with towering arches of translucent crystal. Each arch whispered secrets of creation etched in living geometry. I sensed the heartbeat of the cosmos pulsing through each facet. The air tasted of honey and thunder as I took a step deeper into that sacred hallway. Guided by an unseen hand, my soul trembled with both fear and awe as the path before me unfolded. A presence of infinite gentleness waited at the corridor's end, a glow within the glow, beckoning with soft assurance. I felt drawn by compassion stronger than any force I had known. In that moment, words formed without sound, a communion beyond speech conveying both warning and embrace. I understood that love and justice dance at the edge of every decision. Time unraveled and rewove itself faster than thought. I saw flash glimpses of Earth's tipping points, flooding cities with chaos and drought, stripping fields bare. Each vision seared urgency into my soul. It felt like watching humanity teeter on a knife's edge between ruin and rebirth. Yet within the frenzy of collapse, I sensed the fragile spark of renewal flickering in hidden places where faith kindles in silent prayer. That spark promised hope, even as the walls of certainty crumbled. Then a ripple of soft laughter echoed across the expanse, a sound both ancient and intimate. It carried the memory of every joy too easily forgotten in the shadow of dread. It reminded me that love endures beyond the fiercest storms. I followed that echo, until I stood before a radiant silhouette shimmering with kindness and truth. Though I could not yet see its face, my heart raced with anticipation and a timeless comfort settled in my bones. The air vibrated with promise and warning in equal measure. I felt the world's heartbeat in my chest and the fragile pulse of every living soul. It was a communion of fear and hope woven into the fabric of creation. A sense of sacred urgency welled up within me, the knowledge that I would return not as I had been, but as a bearer of truths too profound for ordinary life. Every beat of my heart became a drum calling me back to awaken the living. Then the light receded like a tide, pulling away secrets I was not yet ready to grasp. The corridors and crystal arches faded into distant echoes. The warmth lingered like a promise etched into my soul. My consciousness rushed back through the void until I collided with flesh and bone, gasping for air in a world forever changed by what I had seen. I re-entered life, clutching a message heavier than any flood, as I lay suspended between existence and the unknown. A final whisper brushed my spirit, promising a mission beyond measure, urgent and unrelenting. It carried the echo of trumpet calls and unseen stirring across every shore. It was a summons that outshone even the roar of the floodwaters. In that final breath of otherworldly calm, I knew I would return to speak the unspeakable and kindle both dread and hope in equal measure. My voice would carry the weight of eternity into every trembling heart. The world unfolded beneath us like a living tapestry of light and shadow. I felt the steady pulse of Earth's heartbeat resonating in my chest as Jesus stood before me in that radiant expanse.
Mike, I show you what sleeps beneath humanity's daylight.
His voice rolled across continents as if carried by a storm. I saw a map of nations glowing under a cloud of impending judgment. I heard the silent screams of seas choked with plastic and skies heavy with smoke.
Watch how greed feeds on the poor and leaves millions unseen.
I witnessed wealth hoarded in fortified towers while children scavenged for crumbs in shadowed alleys. I saw governments debating budgets as coastlines disappeared beneath surging tides. I saw politicians trading empty promises while the planet burned.
The earth groans for justice and desperation cries out in the desert.
At that moment, a wave of sorrow crashed through me. Have you seen it in your own city? The lake turned acid green. The river that once gave life now runs with poison. Leave a comment if you felt that sting of loss in your heart. Jesus reached out a hand and the vision shifted to secret halls of power. I peered into rooms where leaders whispered deals that would spark conflict. Missiles poised in darkness waiting for a trigger labeled "Simply Start."
A war brews in silence and will ignite before alarms sound.
I saw flashpoints across the globe, border towns trembling under troop movements. Satellites capturing the first plume of smoke over ancient cities. Do you feel that chill of dread in your bones, type? Yes, if your spirit trembles with the same warning. Then the scene changed to screens alive with false light. Influencers hailed as saviors, their messages swirling in hypnotic rings around millions of minds. They promised healing without sacrifice, unity without truth.
They offer you a mirror world that reflects desire, not reality.
Crowds knelt before holographic phantoms that spoke of brotherhood without a cross. I felt the emptiness of that counterfeit faith. Families torn apart by the promise of inclusion that demands denial of what is right. Jesus' gaze softened as he showed me souls in hidden rooms, pockets of genuine prayer where weary hearts fell to their knees in darkness. A spark of pure hope ignited in whispers and tears.
Seek me in silence, and I will meet you in the hollow of your despair.
I saw frontline workers risking their lives for strangers, activists marching for justice under banners of hope, young voices rising in songs of redemption even as chaos unfolded around them. Share this moment. As someone who embodies that fearless faith. The panorama shifted again to the digital realm. Artificial intelligence weaving networks that predict and manipulate desires. I watched algorithms shape opinions, stoke fears, and silence dissent.
Beware the invisible hand that programs your thoughts and steals your will.
Have you sensed it in your scrolls late at night? The echo of doubt whispered by endless feeds. Let me know below if you've ever questioned what you believe because of a screen's glow. Then came the flash of nuclear fire on the horizon. A silent flash that erased a city in one heartbeat. No sirens, no warning, only a void expanding across the coastline.
This strike will leave no time for sirens or prayers.
In that moment, the weight of every choice we make pressed upon me. Every compromise of truth, every turn away from mercy, had built the tension for that final eruption. Jesus lifted his eyes to the horizon of time, and his voice carried a tremor of both grief and promise.
Yet, even as judgment falls, my mercy remains a beacon in the dark.
I felt warmth flood the vision as if a million hands reached across borders to offer forgiveness. I saw communities gathering in secret church basements, prayer circles in living rooms, groups formed by desperation and raw faith.
Unite in truth and love, for your salvation is in your unity.
This was no abstract prophecy, but a summons to action. The urgency of his words burned like wildfire through my spirit. I sensed millions reading these lines, hearts pounding in unison. If you feel that call, type amen below. Share this warning with 3 friends and spark the flame of genuine hope Before the shadows consume every light, the vision dissolved into golden mist as Jesus pressed one final plea into my heart.
The choices you make now resonate into eternity. Choose life and speak truth without fear.
Then I was drawn back through the currents of time and space, breathing hard as my body reawakened beneath Sarah's hands. The roar of floodwaters returned, but his final words echoed in my soul. Carry this warning beyond your screen. Your neighbor needs to hear it. Your family needs to live it. Subscribe, comment, share, and stand firm in the light before the coming storm breaks upon us. Now that the warning has been sounded, I returned beneath the roar of floodwaters. Lungs burning, heart pounding with revelation, Jesus stood beside me in that raccoon-lit hospital room. His gaze firm yet tender as the weight of my purpose settled on my shoulders.
Mike, you are called to proclaim truth in an age of chaos and contradiction.
He spoke of an era where armies march not only on battlefields, but through media feeds, where nations arm their hearts with fear and spin war as progress. You will stand at the crossroads of faith and conflict, he said. You will expose the hidden agendas that pit brother against brother. Under the banner of ideology, my mission would ignite debate, spark conviction, and challenge the status quo that worships power over mercy. I saw myself on streets cracked by drought and scorched by sanctions. I heard the cries of refugees treated as pawns in geopolitical chess. Jesus entrusted me to be their voice in cathedrals and virtual forums alike, to remind the world that war begins not with bombs but with hardened hearts.
You will speak against the tempo of arms and speak for the dazed and voiceless. Stand firm and speak boldly, for faith is not a refuge from suffering, but a call to sacrificial truth.
My commission would not be easy, people. I would face scorn from those who profit from the clash of nations. I would face doubt from those who fear the cost of conviction. Yet in every moment of trial, I would recall the pulse of creation I felt beyond life and death. The silent music urging me onward, and you watching this now. Will you rise with me if I stand? If you refuse to stay silent, share this message in your communities. For this is not my mission alone, but ours together. A clarion call for an era that hangs between surrender to despair and the fierce hope of redemption. I felt Jesus' final word burn into my spirit.
Go and proclaim with courage, for the world's souls hang in the balance.
Then his light faded, and I opened my eyes to a world still trembling with fear. Clutching that mandate, I stepped forward to speak into the storm. Beyond the corridor, a chamber emerged. Floors of obsidian pulsed with living history. Arches draped in luminous smoke whispered of truths older than time. At the center, altars cradled in silver and bone. As I drew near, the flame atop each altar blossomed. Each spark a human soul, bright or smothered. Shadows writhed at the altar's edge like regrets given voice. Their silent cries etched in the air. I placed my hand on crystal walls. The air tasted of salt and ash. Memories flickered. Cathedral choirs twisted into dirges. Candles wept molten silver tears. Each drop a broken promise. Then the altars shuddered. Visions erupted. Priests in gilded robes feeding famine. Prophets chanting for war. Children praying into the void. A chorus of hollow hymns echoed. I felt the weight of silent screams. Blood-red glyphs scorched the air.
Jesus said, "Give me your wounds, and I will transform them before the world's eyes."
His words trembled with sorrow and fire. Statues of angels bled liquid starlight. Wings peeled back like paper, revealing eyes that refused to sleep. I staggered back through a corridor of suspended souls. Each soul a question unanswered.
Those who turn from me will be driven into shadows they cannot escape.
The chamber convulsed as the floor cracked. Storms raged in visions above. Oceans swallowed cities. Forests burned with spectral flame. Yet within the maelstrom, tiny beacons glowed. hands clasped in midnight rooms, whispered prayers by dying lips, hearts ablaze with defiant hope, altars melted into trails of ember, leaving a single crystal vial filled with earth's tears.
The harvest of souls is sown in tears of truth and blood of sacrifice.
Then the chamber collapsed into a singular note of harmony. The edges of vision dissolved. I fell back into flesh and bone. Spirit awakened, scarred and ignited. The roar of floodwaters faded as consciousness crashed back into my chest. Lungs seized with the fire of life returning. I felt Sarah Jennings's hands pressing down, leaning close to my ear as she barked orders through tears. Every breath a dagger of pain and relief intertwined. My eyes snapped open to sterile lights and the sting of antiseptic air. Monitors flashed red alarms beneath white sheets stained with water and mud. I was suspended between two worlds, the shimmer of that golden realm still pulsing behind my eyes, and the harsh reality of machines keeping me tethered to life. A paramedic furrowed her brow, her gloved hands gentle on my arm. "Stay with me, Turner. You made it back." Her voice cracked like porcelain, each word a lifeline pulling me from the edge of death's abyss. I tried to speak, but my throat was a desert of pain. Voices gathered at my bedside. Laura's gasp, Emily and Noah's muffled sobs, the muffled beeping of monitors racing to stabilize my heart. My wife's hand closed over mine with a desperation I had never felt in any blueprint calculation. Her tears soaked my sleeve like a baptism of mercy. I blinked against the flood of faces, nurses, doctors, reporters clamoring for confirmation of my miracle survival. Questions tumbled like debris in a storm. I managed a whisper of what remained of my strength. I saw the warning. Their eyes widened, some skeptical, others already dialing cameras and notebooks to capture the first breath of my return. Pain shot through me as Sarah adjusted my IV line. Every movement a reminder that my body had been broken and resurrected in the same moment. I watched my reflection in a nearby window. Pale skin, dark circles, the faint glint of something otherworldly in my eyes. As though I carried a secret too vast for words, news crews flooded the hallway like vultures drawn to survival's carcass. Their questions pressed in like tidal waves. What happened? What did you see? I took a ragged breath and summoned the calm echo of that presence. I witnessed the future. I carry warnings for every soul willing to listen. My words spread down the corridor in waves. Doctors paused their rounds, nurses hushed. Even patients in nearby beds turned to catch the weight of my confession. A hush fell over the ward as I described shattered cities' silent nukes, false prophets and hidden wars. The oxygen in the room crackled with disbelief and dawning fear. Laura guided me home that evening through streets still slick with debris and flickering streetlights. Each step was a journey from death's door back into human frailty. I cradled Emily and Noah, their soft voices calling me Daddy. My tears fell freely, each drop a testament to mercy and anointing. The living proof of a mission reborn. At home, the TV played a loop of my rescue captions labeling me a miracle survivor. But I felt the burden of truth heavier than any miracle. I traced my fingertips over the damp walls of my living room, the distorted reflections of broken furniture and soaked carpets, reminders that I had left one world to return to another. That night I sat at my desk, the golden glow still flickering behind closed eyelids as I opened my laptop to record every vision. Each keystroke was a pulse of urgency. I poured warnings into words and phrases that could travel beyond hospital walls, beyond city limits, into the hearts of strangers. I emailed reporters, shared encrypted messages with community leaders, and posted a simple plea on social feeds. Share if you fear what is coming. Comment if you will stand awake. By dawn, my story had ignited debates across households, servers buzzing with disbelief and hope. Lives paused to consider the cost of denial. As the sun rose over a battered New Orleans, I understood my return was no casual resurrection. It was a summons to speak into the storm. My body ached. My spirit burned, yet each pang reminded me why I was chosen to bridge the gap between death's revelation and life's fragile breath. No longer could I blend into blueprints and forecasts. Every moment alive must serve as a trumpet blast against complacency, for I had returned with a message beyond disaster, a divine charge to awaken the living before the next wave of darkness crashes upon us all.
That evening I held Laura's hand as the last light faded beyond our shattered windows. Emily and Noah slept beside us, unaware of the veil we had brushed against. I looked at their peaceful faces and felt the fragility of every heartbeat. If I could give you a single gift from beyond the flood, it would be this: cherish every breath as a miracle, every sunrise as a promise. Let every tear you shed for a broken world become a seed of compassion. I once believed strength lay in steel and numbers. Now I know true strength is born in surrendered hearts and outstretched hands. When you see a neighbor in need, bend down, offer water, share a warm word. In those simple moments, eternity collides with our fragile lives. I've returned with visions of darkness and dawn, but the greatest vision is you standing firm in kindness when fear whispers to hide. Your voice matters, your love matters, your hope can spark an awakening. So before you close this video, pause and reach out. Text a friend who is hurting. Hug someone who feels alone. Let your life be a testimony that mercy triumphs over disaster. I whisper this to you, friend. You are not forgotten. You are not beyond redemption. In the darkest hour, your light can shine the brightest. Hold fast to love. Hold fast to truth. And when the final wave comes, we will stand together unshaken and unafraid. As you carry these words into your day, remember that every moment holds the spark of change. If this message stirred something in you, consider subscribing to walk this path together. Share your city in the comments. Let us join hands in prayer for the places we call home. Pass this video to a friend who needs a reminder. They're not alone. Your share could be the lifeline they seek. Join our community of hope and action. Together we can light the shadows around us, and above all, let your kindness ripple outwards, because even in the darkest flood, a single act of love can calm the storm.